Welcome to this special coffee with yours truly, Adrian, yours truly, independent artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical analyst, and theorist for a special rock and roll over time. Every time gonna begin with gratitude, grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food, and coffee, got that coffee, my rent's paid my rent. It is the 14th of January. Full moon began yesterday, 6 p.m. EST in Hawk Island, Montreal. So today's the first. Tomorrow's gonna be the second day. Gonna do a big cleaning in the morning, auctioning 93% of everything that I own, and then Wednesday's gonna be the last day. Gonna probably go finish it off to the mountain, and then rock and roll. Today's actually Tuesday, so it's gonna be Thursday, the last day, because tomorrow we're gonna do some cleaning. Today's Tuesday, the 14th of January. Grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And got some sweets. I'm gonna be singing some rock and roll. Gonna always send some LOV to the firefighters. LOV to the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, all involved in the production and the distribution of food. Yours truly, Rainbow Dragon. Let's sing us for the workers. Let's sing a little song for the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and those warehouse workers. And those steel toes, the construction worker here to go for the public workers on the road. Truckers on the road, in the daycare changing diapers. You know that's working smelly. Hey, gotta sing it, that's okay. For the rainbow, that's a holiday. Hi, today. Carpe diem it every day. Hey, since I died of COVID got survived on 3 vaccines. Please increase in public that hygiene. Got survived that 3 vaccines. Please increase in that hygiene. Got survived that COVID spin. Please increase in public hygiene, LOV, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercising has been is and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Although financially stressed right now, today, 14th of January, I am financially stressed, but I got $44 and about 90 cents, 95 cents, $44 and 95 cents, $44. So almost $45 Canadian, almost $45 Canadian, almost $45 Canadian to last me before the end of the month, but I have food enough if I stretch it out for 40 days without purchasing any food. So my expenditures is going to be only for sanitation, for everything that I need for sanitation, to clean the laundry, whatever the laundry needs doing, or the dishes or the food or whatever the case may be, because other consumption. But if I can afford to get a bottle of wine, I will, but I'll check the budget with that 44, because today's over already, almost mid January. I gotta send some LOV to the train conductors, public train conductors, some LOV to the truckers carrying that groceries, that bacon, that sausage, that potatoes, that bread, on the road now. The construction workers, public workers, Hydro-Quebec workers in the past to build 63 dams. We're going to need to build some more dams. And I'm joyous, financially stressed. My only stress now is financial. And in the past more than 45 months, I've been learning to, of course, manage my characteristics. My Asperger's, have HFA, high functioning autism, and Asperger's, and I've been diagnosed for many years in that I'm with Asperger's, HFA, but I've been rejecting it for many years until finally about 3.5 years ago I finally accepted, because I have the characteristics and I have the characteristics and what's also called the symptoms, but instead of symptoms I use the appellation and the terminology characteristics of Asperger's. But I live with HFA, high functioning autism, so I am predisposed to certain special interests, which are also known as obsessive interests, but I do not call them obsessive interests due to the fact, of course, that those interests are for me natural, and for many Aspies, special interests are very natural, and we're very intense, super focused when we are involved in those activities or those areas of knowledge or study, whether it be geography, whether it be politics, whether it be arts, whether it be mathematics, whether it be culture, whether it be any other specific area of special interest, also known as obsessive interest, that people like myself who are neurodivergent have. And my holy trinity is geopolitics 24/7, geopolitical studies and geopolitical analysis and revision of geopolitical events of the past and of the day, with parallel with fitness and sports. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity. I love to dance. Dancing is my favorite fitness and sport activity. And the third one is rock and roll. That's my holy trinity. Today on the full moon, I'm a mystic, also a philosopher, a geopolitical theoretical analyst, and theorist. When y'all say God, I got a goddess, GODDSS, to balance those scales, which the goddess credited yours truly. Trillions of kisses. I'm laying the foundation for the first kingdom right here, for the North American Democratic Republic, the Republican Democratic Republic of North America, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. I'm laying the foundations first and foremost with trillions of kisses created from the forgotten goddess, and some push-ups, some rock and roll, rainbow dragon with that, and the North Americans unite 24/7. Special geopolitical emergency event. Yours truly. We are approaching the inauguration of Donald Trump for the second term, and you know that, if you don't know that, in 2018 I've started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian border, on the Canadian-US border, and have been ever since, due to the imposition of those tariffs on aluminum and steel, Canadian aluminum and steel. Donald Trump and the administration imposed tariffs of 10%, 10%. And you know, this Quebecer Canadian was born in the USA. Just read George Patton, Three Glass Darkly, George Patton's poetry, of course, analyzed and discussed his mystic belief, like myself, that he also believed in reincarnations, and yours truly. Rainbow Dragon was also born in the United States 3 times, once a woman, twice a man, both times as a man who served in the United States Army, same army, 156 years apart, different wars of the United States, but same army. So this Quebecer Canadian North America says North Americans unite, but in a public-private partnership mode, my vision, of course, is to create a common passport, a common currency, and of course to have a great North American consensus, to see and establish all the citizens in the population, which is accordant in the concordium of the North American civilizational complex, and of course to do a census. So it's not USA versus Canada. It's Canada, United States, and it is Dragon versus Trump. But also, as much as I would have voted for Joe Biden and Kamala, as much as I'm a pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist, I am a democratic republic. My vision for a public-private partnership, my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. A public-private partnership across the Canadian, North American, US, United States, Canada, joint and beyond, even including Mexico and part of North America, are of course the islands, Haiti, Jamaica, Dominican Republic. Cuba is now a paradox because they're socialist communist, and they have a system of socialism and communism, Marxism, Leninism, and they're on the road to join the BRICS organization. So that's going to be a little bit of tricky on how to do that. But Canada first, and Canada, United States, and of course I have been and will challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. These beautiful red gloves, which were gifted by my anonymous friend, whom if I make $1 million, gonna give half, 50%. And you know, I'm auctioning them for $1 million, as I'm auctioning everything that I'm wearing on me and everything that you see in the background, everything that I have in this underground room house and temple, where ends right here I survived COVID. I'm gonna be marking 5 years of my surviving COVID in 2020, February, March, and I got triple vaccinated right here in this room of Sun Temple. I died and I'm being reborn here, so I'm going to be marking 5 years, as I'm marking now today, 5 years since 2019 in October, November, when I of course concluded that humanity is again set towards a course towards an international conflagration as a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, because that's what I did for many years, independent geopolitical theories and independent geopolitical analysis, which I do from the morning till sunset, to 24/7 basically. Geopolitical events are transpiring every day, new ones, so that's what I do as an independent theoretical analyst, a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, who has predicted 5 years ago in 2019, and I got proof of work, that humanity is again set towards the course of an international conflagration, aka World War III. So I predicted the current situation that's happening worldwide, globally, in terms of the conflicts growing and conflicts re-beginning, recommencing, restarting, that were from the past 20th century. That was one of my main common denominators based on my analysis, which I did in 2019, a very in-depth analysis based on several premises and several levels and layers of analysis of the diplomatic situation and the political situation back then, and the socio-economic political situation of October, November 2019. I had concluded that humanity is set again towards the course of an international conflagration. And of course, before 2018, when Donald Trump imposed for the first time tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, I was pretty much on the sidelines of politics. I was more on the sidelines, an independent observer, an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, an artist, because in parallel to being a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, I'm also an artist, an athlete, philosopher, mystic, was financially stressed but joyous, and who has began challenging Donald Trump to fight me in a boxing match. Still am on the Canadian-US border, in a Canadian joint Canadian-United States rink made of Canadian aluminum and steel, because Donald Trump's administration imposed 10% of tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018. That was the first initiation of the tariffs, and now with the new threat of 25%, which is a quarter, 25% of every dollar is of course 25 cents, and of every $100 is $25. So that is way bigger, way more considerable than the first set of imposition of tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel only, and now it's the threat of imposing tariffs on all goods. So we must avoid as much as possible those tariffs and richer concordium or compromise, because of course we gotta have a marriage like Canada, United States, Quebec. You know, let's get married on the mountain, my second home, Mount Royal Belvedere. And sometimes we are a family, this from, you know, but we're not always in concordium and in agreement. But at the end of the day, we got each other. We're not enemies. We got that coast to coast, ocean to ocean. To the east is the Atlantic, to the west is the Pacific. Pacific, and we're North Americans, Quebecer Canadian, proud Quebecer Canadian, but also North American as much as I am for world peace. I'm of course a Quebecer North American who's not perfect, far from it, and I got my own, of course, little obstacles which I faced throughout the years of struggles with Asperger's and HFA, and I've my own scars that I live with. But some things, when I divulge and put on propositions on the table, it's more of a, for myself as an individual and for us as a collective. A public-private partnership is fundamentally what I'm calling for. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across what I call the collective North American civilizational complex across North America. And of course, it is a joint Canada-US and extended beyond, because Mexico is part of North America. And of course, still challenging Donald Trump. Let's build, my will to build the forgotten goddess temple as I mark now the first day of the full moon, which lasts 3 days. I also my will to build the forgotten goddess temple on the Canadian-US border, parallel to the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, parallel the Forgotten Goddess Temple, parallel to the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. I created some rock and roll, some kisses, some hugs. I can wash the feet, I guess, for the construction workers. Salute, because it's the construction workers who are going to build it on those cranes, and challenging Donald Trump. And before 2018, when Trump imposed tariffs on first time on Canadian goods, just aluminum and steel, of course, of 10%, it was in spring 2018. And besides, before that, I was on the sidelines. I wasn't really involved personally in politics until that moment. And that's I had my campaign, Dragon versus Trump, and have been called to build a rink made of joint Canadian-US, North American aluminum and steel. And before that, I was just depressed, suicidal, coming out of being depressed, being suicidal. And the event that changed my whole life was crossing Canada coast to coast. And that's when I established in 2017, when I went to Vancouver, BC in August. In the summer 2017, August, went to BC, British Columbia, and of course Vancouver, and came back, went to Halifax, Nova Scotia in 2017, also in September. From Montreal to Halifax, it was a 25 hours and 44 minutes. 25 hours and 44 minutes. I still have the tickets, auctioning those tickets for me. I'm going to give half to my anonymous friend, 50%, as I'm auctioning everything that I have here. So back then, in 2017, that event, Crossing Canada, I had a revelation, and I just said so many things to do, to see here in Canada, across North America, that I got out of being depressed and suicidal and practiced gratitude every day. Started working out, training, exercising. In 2019, created my own workout training program system, which requires no equipment, which is simple, effective. It requires no equipment. I'm really proud of that creation. Paradoxically, I created it to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario back in 2019. And of course, I still am calling for its support and financing across the North American complex, to be done in high schools, as a gym, in the gymnasiums in the high schools of North America and beyond, to be financed, because it's a kind of fun. It can be fun if you do it. And it's called the General War Integrated Whole Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army workout. It requires no equipment, but it can be a little bit fun. You can do it on music. It's quite simple, effective, and efficient. It's not meant for aesthetics, but it's meant to, it has a specific science to it. It's meant to increase general overall fitness. So my workout increases general overall fitness, and I perform more than 372 sessions. And just gonna drink a little bit of coffee and continue my freestyle rock and roll here, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise from Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal, my home in this life and in a past life. I believe in reincarnations, and I was born in the USA 3 times, post 7076, twice served in the United States Army, same US Army, different wars, and now we got to get that North American defense, security, and service. My protocols and initiatives are fundamentally to co-create two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions for the 21st century, for pleasure and their environment, and for security, service, and defense only, security, service, and defense only, security, service, and defense only, and the implementation of my total mobile defense theory, total mobile defense theory, or the total mobile defense theory system, which I developed it about when I crossed Canada coast to coast. I started developing it, because being a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, you've got to know a little bit about security and defense, and I'm not have an expertise in that. And myself, I have my own vulnerabilities and lack of knowledge and skills and competencies in certain areas, such as social interactions, and can be awkward and weird in certain things. But in my geopolitics, that's my kingdom, my domain, to the point that I predicted in a general manner what's transpiring now across the world. So I don't have all the solutions, but some of the solutions I believe I propose on the table, and I place on the table, parallel to the kisses and lots of rock and roll and lots of marching steps with it, for the North American collective, are part of what's needed for the 21st century to move forward. My initiatives and call to action are fundamentally public-private partnership based, to create a common currency based on my DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, which in the Concordium and in parallel to the public finances of Canada, it's something that has to be very similar, if not is the only solution for the current public financial situation which we find ourselves in. So still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match. Maybe on the 19th is going to come on the border. We're going to come a little bit of tango, whatever the case may be, and get a little bit of sportsmanship. And we're going to have to play that defense. Play that defense like that Harbor Bowl. We're just going to play that defense coast to coast like that Harbor Bowl. Play that defense. And I don't know about the 51 state because I'm Canadian Quebecer, but I'm also North American, and I'll be believing in past lives like George Patton, the general, of course, who served in the United States Army in the Second World War. George Patton, one of the great poems that he wrote is called Through a Glass Darkly, and there he lays the belief in reincarnations. I believe in reincarnation, but today is the 14th of January 2024, and I know somebody's joyous. The youth and the children are innocent, and the youth and the children are innocent. The youth and the children are innocent. And last night when I went to the mountain, I saw a few couples kissing and holding hands. So I said that gives me hope, because it's not all about fight. You gotta get some LOV, Here in the True North, strong and free. As Canadians, I have Canada tattooed there, Canada tattooed there, freedom tattooed there. We gotta put those stars with the maple leaf, and of course, as a Quebecer, the fleur de lis. It can go together, this. Or above, the stars above, the maple leaf below. We can't join. As the dragon with the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom are one. The dancing goddess kingdom and the dragon are one. The dragon and the dancing kingdom are one. So we can put the flag. We can join together in a public-private partnership, a democratic republic, and create a common currency and continue the work for the French language, because here 10 million Quebecers like myself, and I'm going to encourage the United States Armed Forces, security forces once a week or even once a day to listen to one Celine Dion song in French, and with the translation, you can put a little bit of an effort, an encouragement, and also Donald Trump to listen at least, let's say once a day, minimum once a week. Donald Trump for a Celine Dion French song with a translation, and listen to different songs, maybe the same song, then a few times the same song with the translation, read it, and other times another song. And it's not just Celine Dion, of course, but she's one of our more known here from Quebec, Canada, and we got lots of great things. We need to build more hydroelectric dams, and from Hydro-Quebec, I got to give a salutation to the Hydro-Quebecers workers now on the field. Some rock and roll for them, thanks to the workers of the past. I have this electricity, which I'm doing this video, which is part of my work, is I'm always looking for business opportunities and collaboration. You know the song, pledge your allegiance, legions, pledge your allegiance, legions, pledge your allegiance, legions. It ain't all about the money. Wall Street, give some charity, gotta kisses or some hugs. Hey, that's the sword of freedom, gotta kisses and the sunlight, gotta give his satellites. Hey, the true north, strong and free, but where's the love, Because here in Canada, we say we are the true north, strong and free. But to that strength and freedom, we got to add some plus some loving. Because if it's just strength and freedom has to be ensured. And parallel to my brothers and sisters in the United States, our motto in Canada as Canadians is true north, strong and free. In the United States is in the land of the free and the home of the brave. So we have free both in common, and we take that out, and then we have brave contrasted with free, us in Canada, true north, freedom. Strength, strong. In Canada is true north, strong and free, and the United States is land of the free, home of the brave. So we have both free. In both our mottos is two words. Canada is free and strong. United States is free and brave. So we both have free. So then you have two different ones besides the common denominator of the free, right? In the true north, North America, free, you can have strength and brave, but also loving. Also LOV, because otherwise what are we finding to say for? If somebody doesn't making love today, is there's no LOV, black and white, rainbow love, myself being androgynous, pansexual, my fellow homosexual community, LOV, to my fellow LGBTQ community, and straight love, all sides of love, all types of love, straight love, lesbian love, homosexual love, black and white love, in the 50 states plus all the 13 provinces of Canada love, coast to coast love, Montreal love, French Canadian Quebecer love, for that Celine Dion love, for that rap, rock and roll, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, truckers, nurses in the daycares, nurses changing some diapers, the doctors, some LOV, so take some LOV. You can't just have strength. As much as I am a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who understands, and to a certain degree I support, and many of my initiatives are peace through strength. initiatives fundamentally, because I predicted an international conflagration in 2019. Since October, November, you can see many of my videos online with the World War III scenario, my workouts. I have been in a World War III type of mode. But here in North America, the paradox and the sort of the beauty of it is we've been able to manage for so many decades to make it this far without having sectarian inner conflicts. And sure, we have problems now more than the past 5 years during COVID. We have economic, social, we have lots of problems and we have lots of stress and tough times we lived in. But we got to look for solutions. And I believe in the North American collective civilization. I believe in my fellow Quebecers, fellow Canadians, fellow North Americans. We're going to find some resolutions. My brothers and sisters, if you're a billionaire, give some charity. Finance some charity. It's time to mass finance fitness. Mass finance some fitness. And please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, please reduce the cost of the tickets by 44.9%. Yesterday, I got the service here in my neighborhood come to pick up the garbage. The public workers came to pick up the garbage. I saw them and their athletes loading on the trucks. You know, they load on the trucks those big machines and takes that brains and that muscle and they loaded that garbage and they put it in the machines and that's what makes the public sanitation. So a lot of workers and that's also athletics in many ways. So please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, please donate some tickets to the public workers. Firefighters, they deserve a massage therapy session. I complained that I wanted to afford a massage therapy session because I lost between 80 and 93 pounds and I keep a very fit, active lifestyle, a super active lifestyle on the daily workout, train, exercise, parallel to geopolitical analysis and theorizing. And for more than 5 years in my videos, I say, I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, but you know what? I can afford taking a bath. Regular bathing, I do recommend. As a matter of fact, probably I'm going to take one tomorrow after I clean my room off and temple for the second day of the full moon. Special goddess GeoDDSS, because look, sometimes it's a mess here, and I get dirty, get back clean. I like my colors, so I like my colors. I like colors, bright colors. I love pink. I love red. Red is my favorite color, but red and green go together. But I love bright yellow colors and orange colors. I love color. In the black and the white, you gotta have a little bit of rainbow with it. And probably tomorrow for the first time, full moon edition. Full moon special of this last full moon of the year of the dragon, ending in about 14 days on the 29th, I believe, 30th of January, the year of the dragon ends. So 2 more weeks, maybe 15 more days, 15 plus days for the year of the dragon, the lunar new year. So I'm gonna wear my new socks, which I'm gonna auction for $1 million after the first wear. Thank you to my anonymous friend who was my friend because of the money, because I never had any. If I make $1 million, I'm gonna give half. And my will is to build the forgotten goddess GeoDDSS temple and the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, a joint NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, and dancers, strippers with it. Stripping is a dance. I don't go to strip clubs, but stripping is also a dance form. All dance forms, twerking with it. No problem. You twerk on me for world peace. Twerk on me for world peace. Twerk on me for world peace. And for the North American Union. And today, twerk like you never twerked before. Today, hug like you never hugged before with consent. Don't start hugging random people in the streets, with consent and hygiene or between friends. Today, the message is as yesterday was and will be. Today's carpe diem is all I got is today is hug like you never hugged before. Hug for me also. Hug for me double trouble. With consent, obviously. So, I have great hope in that we're going to find solutions. As a pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist, Aspie got that Asperger's with high-functioning autism, androgynous, pansexual, you get that 50-50. I am androgynous. I'm an androgynous human being, citizen of Quebec, Canada, North America, You get that 50-50 and rainbow, but who celebrates the goddess, forgotten goddess today on my workout when I'm going to go work out, and who has hope in the future for the North American collective that we're going to have resolutions, and my call to build, of course, parallel to the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, to construct and build 44 tunnels. We need to ace up a public-private partnership to build 44 tunnels. 44. The number after 43 before 45 is 44. tunnels across North America based on the Cheyenne Mountains, the headquarters of the NORAD military alliance, the headquarters of the military alliance known as NORAD, Cheyenne Mountain, and of course inspired by the Montreal Underground Village in case of a thermonuclear war, and we need to stack it with durable goods. Durable goods, I showed this before. Durable goods, cans, but cans of beans, of sardines, of tomatoes, of pasta, of whatever the case may be. We need to do a lot of stacking of that. And see these sardines, for example. See these sardines, it says best before September 20th, 2029. September 20th, 2029. Best before September 20th, 2029. Boneless Canadian from product of Canada from Nova Scotia. Product of Canada. See, product of Canada, product of Canada. So they're product of Canada, made in Canada, Canadian sardines, but it's today is 2025. So this is the best before date, not the expiry date. So these are good for more than 5 years from today. More than 5 years from today, they're still good for more than 5 years. So they have a lengthy, long shelf life. Very long shelf life, very long shelf life. So we can stack about hundreds of thousands of these and other goods and other durable goods. And this one, it's interesting because these sardines is 5 years, and these sardines says best before January 2024, so last year. So I'm gonna eat it. So these I had since 2019, and I said when I'm gonna do the 300, and I'm gonna complete 300 sessions on my own creative workout training program system, which I about completed during COVID about a year and a half ago, and I of course added and then maybe more than 372 since then of my own creative workout training program system. And I don't have money officially to change my name, my surname, but for me it's changed, and my dragon became dragon, and the motto of the Dragon Army called for the public-private partnership. Dragon Army, aka North American Citizen Security Service and Defense Only, Security Service and Defense Only, Security Service and Defense Only, is the Dragon Army. The North American binational, basically a call for a binational new 21st century institution, just like the NHL and the newly PVHL, Professional Women's Hockey League, rock and roll. Speaking about the PVHL, and my first expenditure when I got money, I'm gonna get the victory for Montreal Professional Women's Hockey League. You know, that's what I want to purchase, and for my next expenditure in terms of the major sports leagues. But that's a rock and roll. See, so this is gonna be eaten soon. Not today because I made my own meal there, but it's gonna be eaten soon. So I'm gonna be eating that soon. And see, here says the dragon. It says dragon on it. So I already accomplished that, changing my surname, and officially for me, I guess it's changed, but gotta do the also legal. So gotta pay fees to change officially your name. So basically, turn the A into an O. The A of my surname became an O. The A of my surname became an O, basically. So that's basically what it is, rock and roll. And gotta drink some more of the coffee, and gonna discuss some of my theories because it's super important to discuss, and especially the DRT. Every time in my videos I do have to discuss the DRT, the death fusion theory, because it's fundamentally the only solution parallel to what's happening now in the terms of public finances. So still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match, have been since 2018. Before that, I was on the sidelines, more independent, but that's when I really entered politics, when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, and my brother cousin Justin Trudeau. And to all the critics, sometimes you gotta propose alternatives. At the end of the day, Justin Trudeau is not my enemy. I say cousin because I relate to Quebecers, Canadians, and my brothers and sisters in the USA, North Americans, as little brother, big brother, little sister, big sister, because being androgynous, you get that rock and roll rainbow dragon 50-50, But I'm a centrist, pro-labor, universal revolutionary centrist. Was in certain dimensions of interactions and social things, I am less able myself due to Asperger's. Some certain things are not so easy for people with Asperger's. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy to understand certain social dynamics and certain social cues and certain social norms, and for example, Aspies and people with HFA, we tend to breach personal space, get too close to people, and things like that. And people have a lot of impression that we're rude or abrasive. Is just because we're neurodivergent, and this neurodivergence we have to be let know, we have to be told basically more directly, and we can be pretty direct in certain things, but it has been an impediment to maintain employment. And from latest statistics from an ASPE friend, fellow citizen with Asperger's of North America, who says that 80% of people with high functioning autism, ASPEs, are unemployed. So that's 80% is 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10. That's a huge number. So if I ever make any money, it's going to be women's sports, food security, and LGBTQ issues, environmental, and definitely autism. And I got to give a shout out for first donation, and last donation was a few months ago, maybe already a year. Maybe already. It was $25.44. Thank you, via PayPal for that donation, and from a fellow with autistic, and I think a fellow ASPE. So, people who are neurodivergent, a tiny minority, we're less than 1%, 44%, less than 0.44%, so less than half of a percentile, less than 1%. So those are the dynamics. But when it comes to geopolitics, being that it is my interest, my special interest, also known as obsessive interest, that's what I do on the daily. And sometimes I'm just, for hours and hours and hours, I can analyze different events which are transpiring from the world, different new dimensions of geopolitical realities, new accords, new intents, new discourses by presidents, discourses by prime ministers, discourses by main leaders, and new events in the geopolitical world. I can be for hours and hours and hours, and sometimes I just lose track of time. I'm so in analyzing geopolitical events and doing revisions from the 20th century, and that's people with Asperger's, people with high functioning autism. When we have those special interests, they're also called obsessive, but the word obsessive has a more negative connotation. That's why I do not use obsessive. It's a special interest. It can be super intense, super focused, super concentrated. And when I'm in geopolitical world, I lose time. It's for hours. I can spend hours and hours just not moving from the chair and analyzing geopolitical events and doing geopolitical analysis and looking at different news outlets, analyzing their discourse from the right, from the left, from the center, from the right, from the left, from the center, from the right, from the left, and the center. And my brothers and sisters, I can simplify what our leader, both my brothers and sisters in the USA, because this Quebecer Canadian who was born in the USA 3 times, post 70-76, and twice served in the U.S. Army, 2 different wars, under 56 years apart, the war, same army. So to the U.S. Senate, Congress, Parliament, to my brothers and sisters, fellow Canadians. The song is, "The King is absent." The King is absent, we need that republic. The King is absent, we need that republic. The King is absent, we need that republic. In Canada, it's time. 21st century, it's time. It's time for the republic, it's time for the North American Union, the Democratic Republic. Like I said, I don't know about that 51 state, and my brothers and sisters in the USA. With LOV, we have to rebuild the North American urban cities, aka the ghettos of North America. We have to mass invest in the North American urban cities, aka the North American ghettos. We have to mass invest in the North American inner cities, aka the ghettos. Billions and billions and billions. Calling on all billionaires of Canada, US. Give 5%. Cut me a finger, cut me a finger, cut me another finger. Give 5% of the billions to rebuild the ghettos. I'll sing some rock and roll, wash some feet for the construction workers. The NFL, National Football League owners and players, not just the players, millionaire players. NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Millionaires, billionaires making 100 millions for 7-year contracts, 5-year contracts, 156 million or 44 million plus a year. That's mostly the NBA. NBA is the highest annual gross. NBA, the National Basketball Association, in contrast to the NFL, National Football League, and the NHL, they make more annually. The NBA makes average salaries is the NBA. That's the number one of the major 4 sports North American sports leagues, and the National Hockey League is binational. It's not really national, and we need the binational Dragon Army and the Dancing Goddess Army for the environment, for security and service. And my brothers and sisters, give 5%. Millionaires, billionaires to rebuild. We need a mass rebuilding of the infrastructure. We need mass rebuilding of the infrastructure. Gotta salute the public workers, the aqueducts, the sewers. I always gotta salute LOVD public workers. You can see many of my workouts, training programs, and videos. I always mention and meditate for more than 5 years, and of the public works that needs to be in saluting the public workers, because it takes the public and the private. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. Here in my dragon's lair, I'm about to go work out, train, exercise. Maybe I'll go to the mountain. If it's sunny, I'll go towards the sun. It depends. It's the full moon, so I might hit the mountain, or I might go to the public gym. See how it goes for the dragon versus Trump training fit, encouraging all to train, work out, train, exercise. And there's a lot of things we gotta do, and I'm not totally selfless. I got some selfish. I try to be balanced. I have lust and a very weird certain dynamics, but please give some charity. Super important to be charitable. Give some charity. Charity is super important. And we got to get that redemption. And got to get that defense coast to coast in a non-sectarian manner. I predicted what's happening now in 2019. Based on my analysis, which can be very in-depth, but if I can make a fundamental resume, a consensus, or if I can sum it up, of course, is due to the fact that many nation states have not, of course, resolved, nation states, geopolitical regions and civilizations have not resolved their conflicts. That is going to be a spillover in the 21st century, and that's what, of course, I had concluded back in 2019, in October, November in 2019. That's what I concluded back in October 2019, that there's going to be a conflagration of an international manner, a World War III scenario. That's what I sang, and that's what I predicted. And bury me with Papa Crowley up in New Jersey, third me up in Mount Royal, third me up in the city of the pyramids. For the forgotten goddess, gotta sing it. Butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, gotta salute the cashier workers, the butchers, the bakers in the daycares, changing some of those diapers in the daycares, changing some of those diapers. And I say there's a new protocol for the NORAD, Canadian Armed Forces, North American Armed Forces, U.S. Armed Forces. You gotta put on a uniform. You gotta put a new protocol, a new initiative before you put on the uniform and serve for defense. I say you gotta go change some diapers. Gotta go change some diapers, and that's what you're fighting to defend force. The armed forces fight to defend the youth, which are innocent. That should be a new protocol. That should be a new protocol. They're not mercenaries. I want nothing, no business to do with mercenaries. And no need to spy on me. Secret services of Russia don't cross the Atlantic, nor the secret services of China or traverse the Pacific. 'Cause I'm pretty open. Being androgynous, pansexual, and I like my BDSM switch. I'm not looking for anything specifically. Friends with benefits only. I don't want to waste nobody's time. Friends with benefits only. I do not will to waste nobody's time. Friends with benefits only. I do not will to waste anybody's time. Just ask and consent and pledge your allegiance to our family. And that's what it is, and what it is with that. So challenging Donald Trump, boxing match, Canadian-US border. On the Canadian-US border. Thank you to my anonymous friend Ago, who in 2018 they're a bit damaged when I hit hard. Now they're a little bit of what comes from inside. See a little bit of what they have inside, like a little bit of, I don't know if it's silk or whatever the case may be, because I have to sew. But nonetheless, great gloves. Auctioning them for $1 million. Gonna give half, 50%. To my anonymous friend. Dragon versus Trump edition, special rock and roll, sportsmanship. Unless, if you're gonna start get that dirty, and we're gonna get that dirty rock and roll also. I can get dirty but get back clean, so not a problem. But we need to get a consensus that we are not enemies. My brothers and sisters, North America is united is the rock and roll song. My cousin Trudeau, sometimes I disagree with certain things, but he has a certain wisdom that I do not have, and he had to deal with a lot. In his position. What have you done? You had done this and that, now it's proposition, to get it. But at the end of the day, I have to have his back. My fellow Quebecers, Canadians, if there's ever an invasion from the east, from the west, from the Atlantic Ocean, from the Pacific, I'll be the first one to join, but one condition: only and only merely defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, solely merely only defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, solely merely and only for defense coast to coast, ocean to ocean. And that's why I created my total mobile defense theory, TM, total mobile DT, total mobile defense theory system. It's a system, total mobile defense, which I'm not gonna be overly verbose and discuss about, because it's matters of national and North American security. It's national and North American security. It's matters of North American security, and it's a theory system which is for defense. And I do not want to discuss it over much, but part of the call for the implementation of Operation Northern Scorpion, to do a public-private partnership to make a census of all the population, the citizens that have been living in Canada since 2017. And of course, we gotta know. They gotta know all the planes, from where they're coming and where they're coming from the east, from the west. And we got to initiate the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, and of course mass build infrastructure for security, service, and defense across the North American complex, where citizens can go monitor on big screens. That's why I'm calling on my astrological brother Bill Gates, Scorpio brother Bill Gates, to also support the mass building of these centers, where the citizens can go and see where there's need for volunteering, assist in the reconstruction, and assist in the building of the 44 tunnels, assist in the building of the 44 tunnels and the infrastructure of the North American collective civilization, which needs to be rebuilt. And now that I'm on the subject of rebuilding and building, I'm going to discuss my DRT theory, which is of course the only solution paradoxically, to the public-private to the finances of the Canadian complexities, of the realities of the Canadian public finances. So I'm going to discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory. The DRT stands for debt refusion theory. My DRT theory is the only solution, my brothers and sisters. Why do I make the statement such? Is that due to the fact that today, or this year, 2024, last year already 2025 now, first is the 14th of January already. So the fact that today we pay 46.5 billion in interest. 1 billion has 1,000 million, 1 billion has 9 zeros. So today we pay 46.5 billion in interest on the public debt of Canada. Yesterday in 2024. In 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3. So 20.3 times 2, double, would have been 40.6. So the interest, just the interest, not the principal, on the servicing the public debt, aka the interest that we pay on the public debt, has more than doubled in 3 years. Of course, due to COVID, and I had COVID. It right here in this underground room house and temple. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. I know it sounds like a hardcore death metal, trash metal, rock and roll type of the title of an album for a rock and roll trash metal hardcore 1980s style trash hardcore death metal type of song, or type of name of an album. But that's how I felt, and right here I survived it 5 years ago. Gonna be marking in February, mid-February to mid-March. So paradoxically, my DRT theory. But just to say that yes, COVID has caused in many regards the interest on the public debt to more than double, from 20.3 billion, which is also a lot, to 46.5 billion. So paradoxically, my DRT theory, D for debt, R refusion, T for theory, is the only solution, at least for where we are at this point in time. My DRT theory is the only solution, at least for where at this point in time. On this last year, it's possible that on the horizon we have a black swan event. A black swan event is a worst financial case scenario, which is potentially on the horizon due to the fact that we pay so much interest. So that is to be concordium and to be taken note, and check the numbers by the Bank of Canada with my cousin Tiff Mackler and my auntie Christia Freeland, which the numbers are public numbers. So we pay 46.5 billion in interest. That is 46,000 million. 46,000 million. 46,000 million. That is the amount of interest which we pay on the public debt. 46,000 million. A billion is 9 zeros. A billion has 9 zeros. 1 billion has 9 zeros. That is the amount, of course, which we have to pay on the public debt, 46,000 million. That's how much 46.5 billion. A billion has 9 zeros. 1 billion is 1,000 million. So this number is not sustainable. And just to correlate from an individual perspective, as an individual citizen, myself, let's say for myself or for you, I do not have credit cards. Myself, I don't owe credit cards. I don't have credit cards. But let's say that I did have. And in 2020, 2021, the amount of interest which I paid was $156. Was $156. If it would have went from $156 to $333, that's more than doubled. But if my salary would have remained static or only increased by 5%, 10%, maximum 15%, the majority of salaries have not increased by such. So if it would have increased only by 10, 5, or 15%, and my paying the interest on my credit cards or my debt or your debt or some other citizen consumer would have doubled, that means that you would have had to cut whether Videotron, whether Bell, whatever service from the cell phone, whatever bacon from cheese, from smoking cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do drugs and smoke cigarettes. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time that I have cannabis. It's legal in Canada, by the way, so this is adult matter. It's legal. Cannabis and hashish, it's been legal since 2019. It's 2019. More than 5 years now. More than 5 years. So just to know that Canada, federally, coast to coast, cannabis is legal in all the 10 provinces and the 3 territories. So anywhere in Canada, cannabis is legal. Just because I mentioned that, just to make a note. So cannabis is legal. So to take note of that, of course, is that of course cannabis being legal, and of course that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with that. So all the consensus is that we pay now too much interest. Too much. It's not sustainable. Just like as an individual, if my interest payments would have doubled from 2021, from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333. That means, of course, that if they would have been doubled, that means that, of course, I would have had to cut somewhere. Cut in the budget. Whatever expenses I would have had to cut, and this would apply to anybody whose situation would have been parallel situations. I would have had to cut whatever the case may be. I would have had to cut and reduce the budget by a lot of percentage. So I would have had to reduce a lot of expenses. So this is what's in the public is the same principle in the public. So what is going to be reduced? The public security, the picking up the sanitation, the garbage, the compost, the recycling, those 3 services I got weekly. Picking up the garbage, picking up the recycling, picking up the compost. Picking up the compost, picking up the recycling, picking up the garbage, the recycling, and the compost. Those 3 services is going to have to be cut. Those are public services. Prisons, correctional facilities is not sustainable. The paying just the interest has more than doubled in 3 years due to COVID. But imagine parallel, if your salary, and of course the economy, the income, the economy, the GDP of Canada has only went 0.2% increase, maybe not even 1 or 2%, has not doubled like the interest on the debt. This is the point principle. The interest on the debt is double. It's not sustainable. It's possible that tomorrow it is a public financial collapse of Canada, a Canadian public financial crisis. The morning when Trump gets inaugurated, at the same time you see in the news, Black Swan event, public finances of Canada collapse of the public finances of Canada. So my DRT theory is the only solution. My brothers and sisters, it's the numbers, the mathematics. So just like if you would have had as a citizen 156 just in interest, but your salary does not increase. How many salaries have doubled? Not many salaries, only a few, and made a few millions. Some salaries due to lots of strikes in the past year, 2023 and 2024, lots of strikes, have increased by 2.5, 4.4, 5%, maybe 10%, for 15%, very rarely, right? But the interest payments, if it doubled, that means that automatically you would have had to cut Netflix subscriptions, whatever the case may be. So you'd have had to reduce some costs, whatever the case may be, for your expenses on the budget, on the household. Cut the electricity. Well, it's especially during winter, you have to live with that. It's hard to reduce. So the DRT theory, I'm going to explain it as simple as I can. So my DRT theory also includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is exactly the financial theory which the Europeans implemented, which the European Union implemented. So the monetary integration theory is, of course, the implementation of a financial theory which occurred in Europe. The Germans, they destroyed their own national central banks and they annulled their own currency, the Deutschmark. The Italians also, and the Italians, the lira, and the franc also. They destroyed their own currencies. They're all national central banks. And they created the ECB, the European Central Bank, a supranational banking institution, a supranational central bank. They destroyed their own central banks, many countries in Europe, in the 90s, and they destroyed their own currencies. They created a common currency known as the euro. So my DRT theory also includes in my debt refusion theory, DRT theory, D for debt, R refusion, T theory. Debt refusion theory includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is what was done in the European Union more than 25 years ago. more 3 decades ago, right? Almost 3 decades in the 90s, 96, 97, 98, 99. The euro kind of came into being in 1999, I believe, exactly 1999. So more than 25 years, right? So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my $10,000 to the Royal Bank of Canada, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all the public and the private debt. We're gonna add it all up of all citizens and all the public and the private debt. That money, due to the fact that the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, international business, global import, export and import, diplomacy and the political world and tourism. Tourism as well. So we're gonna convert all the public and the private debt, of course, into US dollars. All that money is gonna be what we're gonna add it with the United States public-private debt, and of course it can be expanded to Mexico, expanded to Mexico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. It can be expanded, of course, to the different ones, there. So all the public and the private debt is gonna be expanded, of course, to those, of course, solutions, to expand it across the North American realm, So we gotta implement the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the universal exchange and for the creation of the universal exchange. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, and we're gonna create all that money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. A new central bank is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank. So all that public and the private debt is gonna be the initial money supply for the public-private partnership. Is gonna be the initial money supply, for all the public-private debt is gonna be the initial money supply. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000 included, of course, So coast to coast, ocean to ocean, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. So my $10,000, your $10,000, and of course, whatever the case may be, all the money, we're gonna take it all, and of course, we're gonna create a new currency. So that money, the public-private debt of Canadian dollars converted to US dollars, is going to be the initial money supply for this new central bank, and we're going to create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar, called the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit, the universal exchange, the universal exchange unit. The universal exchange unit. Based on the value of the US dollar, we're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. It can be 5, it could be 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 9.3, 6.1. So it can be below 10%, but not, it can be below 10%, but not more than 10%. So all that money is going to be the initial money supply. We're going to create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit. The universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit. We're going to create all the public and the private debt. All the public and the private debt is going to be created for the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit. So all that money is going to be created in the public-private partnership way. We're going to create the universal exchange unit. That's why I'm calling him astrological brother Scorpio Bill Gates, or BlackRock. Blackstone is, of course, another Scorpio, Larry Fink, and of course, it takes another Scorpio, which is Joe Biden, until the 20th. Noon at 20th, he's still officially the president. So the UE, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit, we're gonna create the UE, the universal exchange unit, based on the public-private partnership. All that money, we're gonna rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collective, the infrastructure of the North American Collective, the infrastructure of the North American Collective, the infrastructure of the North American Collective civilizational complex. 44 tunnels. We're gonna construct 44 tunnels. We're gonna construct 44 tunnels. And of course, for the continuity of the North American civilizational complex, we're going to build 44 tunnels, and we're going to mass build the infrastructure of North America, the highways, the aqueducts, build more tunnels, build more hydroelectric dams, mass finance citizens to work out and exercise and train, mass finance tourism across North America, mass finance tourism, because it did me lots of good. So do lots of good with that money. Build 44 tunnels and implement Operation Northern Scorpion. develop the North American hawk for defense, security, and service. And that's what we need to do. The DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange unit, the UE, the UE, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit, that is the only solution. There's no other solution where we find ourselves at this point in time. There's no other solution where we find ourselves at this point in time, There's no other solution where we find ourselves at this point in time, at this point where we had to pay on the interest. Public Oil Canada public finances 46.5 billion. Again, the numbers it went from 20.3 billion to 46.5 billion, so it more than doubled, and that's what they need to do for the creation of the universal exchange unit, the UE. Gonna need to create, of course, the public-private partnership to create the UE, a new central bank, and gonna do lots of public good with that money, build more parks, and rebuild the infrastructure of the North American Collective, and that's kind of what it is for that rock and roll with that. And it's gonna just now show a little bit of special desserts, which I'm gonna enjoy after my workout. It's gonna be leaving soon for my workout, either to the mountain or towards the public gymnasium or towards the sun. I don't know if it looks a bit cloudy, so probably it's gonna be either to the mountain or to the gym. But I want to show first the cost. So the total cost for wafers, different types of wafers, and for one chocolate bar is $3.72. So less than $5, $3.72. $3.72. This is the bill. It's not that legible because the ink is a bit it's not that black, but see, that's $3.72. That's the total cost. $3.72. So I got $1.30 change when I gave a $5 bill. It's $1.30 when I gave a $5 bill. So it's $3.72 Canadian for this. So you get all this. So this is, and I noticed that, I buy the same three items. Often I buy the same three items. Not every day, but very regular, like once a week, twice a week, if I can afford it, 3 times a week. Depends on the budget, but it's $3.72. So even buy it 3 times, it's less than 15 because it's only $3.72. So I get wafers, which I love. These are 150 grams. See, 150 grams wafers. So 150 grams. This is my sweets after my workout. This is my kind of my dessert treat. But for only $3.72, I get this bag of 150 grams. So I get that bag. I get the pyramids, 160 grams. 160 grams. It's 5 different tablets. See, it's 5 bars. 5 bars. It's 5 different ones like this, long ones. So it's 5 ones. So I get that, and this, which is 2 bars. And this is 72 grams. So I get kind of 400 grams. If you make the math, let's do the math. 150 plus 160, do some math. 150 plus 160, do some math. 150 plus 160 is 310 grams. Yes. And this is 72. 310 plus 72 is 310 plus 72 is 382 grams. I gotta watch the calories though. I've gotta watch the calories. Usually I'm gonna admit that usually I eat all of the wafers. I usually eat 1 bar, and usually I eat 2 or even 3, because it's 5, right? It's 5 different pyramids. So I do have leftover half of the Titan the next day, and about 2, sometimes 3 of the pyramids. So I'm not eating it all in one night. Sometimes, very rarely it happens, but usually I have leftovers for the next day, But for 372 cents. $3.72, you get all these 3, So that's affordable dessert, affordable treats and sweets. It's kind of good for my workout training program. And after I work out, Dragon vs. Strong Special Edition, we're gonna do a little bit of that. And this is gonna be my meal. Before my workout meal is just peanut butter, bread, peanut butter, and I put a banana, put some crackers, half of a little cracker bags, crackers, and of course 2 tangerines in it. So there's gonna be nutrition, pre-workout meal, pre-workout, late lunch, pre-workout, and I'm gonna switch a little bit to that French now. Just do a little bit of French, and again, grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got food and coffee. And let me have a little taste. This is my pre-workout meal. Let's taste it a bit. That's what it is. That's what it is. So 372, Canada, North Americans unite. Auctioning these flags. I'm going to be wearing both when I fight Donald Trump. I'm going to be wearing both. I'm going to merge them and put the fleur-de-lis. Let's make, when I fight Donald Trump, somebody make me a suit with the Canadian flag mixed with the United States and the Quebec. And the Quebec fleur-de-lis, which I have there, the Quebec fleur-de-lis. You have Quebec. The Quebec fleur-de-lis, the Quebec fleur-de-lis. The Quebec fleur-de-lis, the Quebec fleur-de-lis, the Quebec fleur-de-lis. Make me a suit with all the three plus the dragon and the dancing goddess on the line. The dragon gotta be on it. Rainbow dragon, a rainbow dragon, a rainbow dragon on it. And mix these three flags. I gotta switch it to that French now because we're in la belle province. Ready, rock and roll, as we go for the French, we're in la belle province. Et bienvenue à une chanson. Je vais juste vous chanter aujourd'hui. Je vais pas faire parce que je dois aller m'entraîner, mais je vais juste finir avec une chanson. Une chanson de rock and roll de votre dragon arc-en-ciel en français. Et ça chante, mais ça danse de la belle province jusqu'au de la Madeleine, les mains dans les airs, les travailleurs publics. Et on changeait les aqueducs. Votre dragon en arc-en-ciel, des bisous chatouilles. Hey, la neige, ça danse, ça glisse, ça patine. Sa patinoire du Mont-Royal. Ma deuxième maison que je la danse ensemble, on tape. Des mains, je vous appelle, au soutien de mon rêve. Le rêve de votre dragon arc-en-ciel est fondamentalement un appel, un partenariat public-privé pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. On chante fleur de lys en arc-en-ciel. Hey, le rouge que je préfère. Les lapins, mais ça saute dans les airs. Les avions, mais ça danse bombardier, ça descend dans les descente dans la pente. On est en janvier, c'est la pleine lune. Ouh! Ça glisse, ouais. Et ça danse le sirop d'érable que j'en goûte. Dans le café, pas de goutte, pas de trouble. Des fois, messieurs, madame, hey, des fois, messieurs, madame, c'est votre dragon arc-en-ciel androgène. Sans gêne chatouille, bisous décalés, ça bouge des fesses. Ben trop que je bouge, ma bouche, pour le rock'n'roll, ça roule. Les camionneurs, les infirmières, ça bouche dans les boucheries, les boulangers. Ça boulange, ça bouge les pains. Hey, les pains, ça boulange, travaille sur les écabeaux, faites attention. Hey, elle travaille en construction, les câbles d'acier, ça bouge, ça grue, ça monte, un planche, ça planche. Un autre appartement, une autre maison travaille en construction. Les travailleurs d'Hydro-Québec, de l'eau, ça découle, transforme générateur, génératrice en électrique. L'amour, entendre, parler, le savoir, pas besoin de bécherel, je conjugue. J'ai l'Asperger's, mais quand ça vient au rock'n'roll, c'est mon intérêt quand même très intense, concentré. Puis je rentre dans des trans de rock'n'roll, je peux en chanter pendant, pendant des heures sans arrêt. J'ai pas d'argent pour une guitare. Mais je chante la poésie aujourd'hui, oui, pour demain. De l'espoir lave l'hygiène, mes mélanges. Le bidon, ça coule. C'est les galons pas lettres, le mathématique, puis ça base. L'infraction, ça fractionne, ça descente, ça pente. Les jambes, ça bouge. Le nez, les oreilles, les orteils. Ça fait ensemble, ça plie les genoux, puis ça bouge. Ma tante a dit, qu'est-ce que c'est ça? Je dis, ben c'est le nouveau danse, c'est le twerk que j'appelle, ça descente, c'est pleine. On n'a jamais vu ça aux îles de la Madeleine. Ouh, c'est de Montréal sans gêne, l'urbain, la jungle. Que ça vienne, une chanson de la rivière, ça boit de la du vin. Du vin, décalé bien comme faut. Le dragon et les ours, ça descente, ça descente. Entre, ça monte, la montagne. Les arbres, pleine neige. Les écureuils qui me regardent, puis disent que je pense. qui danse, mais qui regarde avec le sourire un peu de menace, menace. Mélange, mélange, je rentre en transe. Quand ça vient, je fais pas de pacte avec le diable, les coureurs de bois baissés. Passer par le mélange, ensemble dans la discothèque, discothèque. La tech, technique. Le rock, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique comme québécoise. Puis aujourd'hui, j'ai fait une discussion plus en anglais, mais c'est toujours bon pour en parler un peu de français. Mais c'est juste que je dois y aller faire mon travail d'entraînement physique. Puis, en tant qu'Asperger, j'ai autisme mouvement fonctionnel. Tu sais, j'ai une routine. Depuis le matin, je peux des fois me concentrer pendant des heures à chaque jour. Puis, je suis intense, je suis dedans. Je peux perdre le temps, la notion du temps, là, parce que je suis tellement dedans, l'analyse, la théorie des événements de la géopolitique, parce que c'est mon intérêt spécial, qu'est-ce qu'on appelle aussi comme intérêt obsessif, puis cette condition de neurodivergence que je vis avec l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel, l'Asperger, ça fait que j'ai certains intérêts spéciaux, puis ces intérêts-là, ben, ça préoccupe mon travail au quotidien, puis les activités quotidiennes, puis je peux faire des autres, mais dans d'autres choses, j'ai un peu de la misère dans certaines choses sociales, ou des interactions un peu plus de la misère, plus de la difficulté dans certaines choses sociales, ou des choses plus... mais je suis bon dans le géopolitique, c'est mon royaume, mon domaine, j'ai même prévu la situation actuelle, puis sur la table, je fais appel à tous de soutenir mon rêve, qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, que je crédite puis je fonde avec des milliards de bisous, puis fondamentalement, c'est un appel à un partenariat public-privé. Un partenariat public-privé pour le collectif nord-américain, pour le collectif de civilisation nord-américain en tant que philosophe. Mais je suis québécois-canadien nord-américain, puis on a un océan à l'autre, puis fondamentalement en géopolitique, mais il faut qu'on se concentre pour le collectif, pour le maintien de la paix et l'harmonie, puis avoir les meilleures relations possibles avec nos frères et sœurs des États-Unis, parce que en fin de jour, on a juste cette réalité géographique puis de géopolitique, hein. C'est principalement l'intérêt principal d'avoir les meilleures relations possibles avec les États-Unis en tant que Québécois-Canadien, puis qu'on fasse le mieux possible, même si j'aurais voté pour Kamala, puis pour Joe Biden, puis je soutiens pas personnellement Trump, mais il va falloir qu'on fasse une entente pour faire des compromis, comme je dis tantôt, pour la création d'un passeport commun, pour la création d'une monnaie d'échange commune, puis pour le faisons un census ensemble. Ben merci, je vous envoie salutations.